What if the most dangerous pirate crew in history never collapsed? What if Rocks survived and the Rocks pirates never turned on each other? With monsters like Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom united under one captain, how long could the world of One Piece survive? The battle at God Valley ended with the island burning, but against everyone's expectations, the Rocks pirates survived and stood together. Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, Shiki, and other crew members had all survived, with Rocks standing at the center, celebrating their resilience. However, the victory was incomplete. Across the ridge, Marines still held on, with Garp standing bloodied but unbowed, Sengoku rallying his men, and Roger's crew withdrawing to sea. It was a stalemate situation. The Rocks pirates gathered in the ruins to devise a strategy, with Rocks telling them the only direction was forward because the Marines would bring reinforcements. He declared they would prove the world wrong about pirates being nothing more than evil people. As the Marines regrouped, their men were bloodied and morale fractured. The Celestial Dragons were saved, but at an immense cost, with another battle soon to come. The impact of the Rocks pirates' survival was huge, as their reputation in the seas became very high and news spread like wildfire. The Celestial Dragons were furious, viewing the pirates' survival as just a delayed death. In Marineford, Marine strategy shifted as some wanted instant revenge, while others insisted on protecting key territories and making a proper plan before countering. Weeks passed after God Valley, and the consequences of winning the battle were amazing. Ships that once sailed independently now had the banner of the Rocks, while some islands started paying them for protection, and others were reduced to ash. The Rocks pirates wanted domination, not just survival. Their first target was a Marine supply convoy sailing from Marineford to the West Blue. Whitebeard's ship crashed into the lead vessel, his Basento destroying the deck. A Marine captain used his Devil Fruit to bring seawater onto the deck to drown Whitebeard, but Big Mom's thunderclouds rolled above, with lightning destroying the ship. By doing multiple loots like these, the Rocks pirates established domination and became a deadly force the Marines would be wary of. Weeks later, the pirates sailed into the New World, where a small kingdom had grown rich by taxing pirate routes. The Rocks pirates surrounded the island as cannons boomed from every side. Shiki's ship hovered above the fortress, raining fire. Whitebeard smashed the gates apart with a single quake, and Kaido tore through the city while Big Mom crushed the initial soldiers. One Marine showed excellent strength with swordsmanship, but when he was about to stab one of the crew members, Kaido's huge frame appeared behind him and crushed him. The mission was successful as the pirates destroyed the whole island and took an overwhelming amount of money. As they were going back, rival ships were waiting outside. The most deadly was the Golden Fang Pirates, a powerful fleet resembling Vikings that had ruled the northern routes for years. The Golden Fangs were infamous for being ruthless raiders, with almost all their captains wielding powerful devil fruits. Their captain, Ironjaw Rattle, had eaten the steel fruit and could turn cannonballs into piercing lances of metal. The battle began with the sky splitting apart. Kaido launched himself first in his half-dragon form, but met Bjorn the Tide King, who had eaten the sea fruit, allowing him to control the whole sea. Massive waves rose and coiled around Kaido's body, pulling him down. However, even under the influence of seawater, Kaido did not falter and shattered the waves apart with his sheer haki, shocking the other Rocks pirates. Whitebeard fought against Sten the Earthbreaker, who had eaten the rock fruit that allowed him to harden his body into living stone. His fists were so strong that punching the ground tore the earth apart. Whitebeard dodged attacks and cracked the air itself with his Basento. Then rushed toward Whitebeard, trying to punch his face, only to be countered by Whitebeard's devil fruit powers. The match was so far a tie. Big Mom stormed through enemy ships with her homies covering the sky, but the Golden Fang had their sorceress Astrid the Frost Veil with the Ice Fruit. She unleashed a blizzard so strong that most of Big Mom's weaker crew members instantly froze. Big Mom's raw power was overwhelming as her laugh boomed, and she shattered the ice with a single swing of her blade Napoleon, crushing Astrid's defenses in 2 blows. In the middle of the carnage, Rocks himself was introduced to the Golden Fang captain, Hrothgar the Eternal Fang, a monster among men covered in scars with eyes burning with madness. He had eaten the blood fruit, giving him the cursed power to weaponize blood itself, pulling rivers of blood from corpses and forming blades, spears, and tidal waves to send toward Rocks. Rocks cut through the seas of blood at immense speed, while Hrothgar's blood constructs lashed out relentlessly, destroying ships and binding Rocks' limbs with crimson chains. After a while, Rocks used his Conqueror's haki to flatten hundreds of soldiers and crack the steel-plated cannons of the Golden Fang fleet. The final clash came when Whitebeard, Kaido, Big Mom, Rocks, and everyone attacked Hrothgar's forces together. Rocks struck Hrothgar with such force that the Blood Wielder's body split and was torn apart by both his blade and his haki. When the smoke cleared, only the Rocks pirates remained, and for the first time in history, a crew like the Golden Fang fell. The Rocks crew wanted to gain control of other checkpoints, not knowing that each of the bigger crew members would be approached by secret killers sent by the Marines to destroy them one by one. Rocks was walking alone on a ruined island one day when a mysterious figure stepped from the mist. That person was revealed to be Admiral Raizo Sakazuki, Akainu's father, who had the Lava Devil Fruit. As soon as the fight started, Raizo's fists erupted into volcanoes as pillars of fire burst high enough to melt the clouds. Rocks charged through each of them, using his Conqueror's haki to slice the lava apart. Raizo drove his hand into the earth, summoning an ocean of magma that consumed consumed the whole battlefield and changed the ground into molten rivers. Rox was still in the air and cut through Raizo's chest, slashing through the molten skin and flesh. Raizo wrapped Rox in chains of hardened lava, trying to drown him in the burning rock, but Rock's Conqueror's Haki shattered the chains like glass. His final piercing strike tore Raizo apart, with magma bursting from his chest, killing him. Rox could have killed young Sakazuki, but decided to spare him. Young Sakazuki's eyes burned with rage and grief as he left. From here, Rox realized there might be a mole in their group because Raizo knew the exact place where Rox was. Far across the sea, Kaido was drinking heavily in the mountains of a snow-covered island when Admiral Arashi, the father of Kuzan, emerged from the storm. Arashi wielded the Glacier fruit, which was so terrifying that it even surpassed his son's devil fruit. Admiral Arashi, Kuzan's father with the Glacier fruit, approached Kaido at his secret hideout. His body was like a moving iceberg, and his breath could freeze forests into crystal statues. Kaido roared with laughter as the fight began, and Arashi initially froze him, thinking the battle was too easy. However, the ice suddenly burned, and a huge dragon emerged. Their clash was titanic as Arashi froze Kaido multiple times, but Kaido's dragon form melted the ice. Arashi threw ice spears as large as castles that pierced Kaido's scales, drawing blood for the first time in years. Their battle dragged on for days, where oceans were frozen and mountains collapsed. Arashi encased Kaido completely in an iceberg and dropped him into the ocean depths. But Kaido rose again with his Conqueror's Haki and shattered the glacier apart. With the final swing of his Kanabo, Kaido crushed Arashi's body into shards of ice. Whitebeard found himself in a clash with young Isho, whose gravity fruit rained meteors from the sky. However, Whitebeard's fruit crushed every single one of them. Whitebeard pushed Isho to his limits, breaking his blade and hurling him across the battlefield. As a symbol of respect, Whitebeard spared the young Isho. The last assassination attempt was on Big Mom by Monkey D. Garp. Big Mom unleashed her homies with thunder and fire covering the skies, but Garp's Haki-infused fists punched through the flames and storms, shattering Big Mom's blade. For hours they fought, spilling blood across the seas. Garp bled from dozens of wounds with his fists swollen and broken. Finally, with one last punch, he slammed Big Mom into the ground so hard that the island cracked apart. Before Garp could finish her, members of her crew, with Shiki, covered her retreat using floating debris. Days later, the Rox pirates reunited, each having faced their own nightmare. They realized the Marines had changed their tactics and were sending legends instead of armies. Everyone was traumatized, but Rox only laughed, saying this was proof that the world feared them. He told his crewmates to get ready for the most decisive battle of their lives and proposed they should look for new crewmates because he could sense a danger greater than anything they had seen coming. The Moby Deck cut across the horizon toward Wang Ji's black-flagged fleet. Rox did not come himself, but sent his strongest titan, Edward Newgate. As soon as they let Edward Newgate on his deck, he asked for Wang Ji to join their wing. However, Wang told Edward that Rox could have come himself, but let his dog do the dirty work. Wang knew the answer was no, and told Edward they should duel. Their duel began instantly as Wang Ji swung his Dao in an arc of blinding speed, creating a crescent of compressed air. Newgate slammed his Basento into the deck, and the ship itself broke. Wang's style was fluid and sharp, and with a single swing, he carved a deep scar into Whitebeard's chest. Wang Ji unleashed his signature technique called Dragon's Maw, incorporating dozens of slashes that almost ripped Whitebeard apart. But Whitebeard braced himself and swung his Basento. The air cracked open with quake powers, and the spiral shattered into harmless wind. The warship they were fighting on split down the middle. They went back for another round, but this time, Wang was quite injured due to all the quake powers. Both grinned, and Wang agreed to join the Rox pirates. Whitebeard came back with good news that Wang Ji would join them, and Rox was surprised to see that someone had put Whitebeard on his skates, looking at the damage he had taken. Next, Rox had a bigger plan in mind. He wanted to bring together Roger's crew for the big marine battle that was yet to come. Everyone, including Kaido and Big Mom, got shivers because Roger was like a god of pirates. The whole crew went on a journey and found Roger's crew in the middle of the Grand Line, just fiddling around. Once they saw Rox's ship, everyone was alerted and the sea cracked under the thunder of cannon fire as the Oro Jackson clashed with the monstrous fleet. Roger stood atop his ship, laughing at Rox, while Rox told Roger he would rather kneel or die. This was their second battle, but this time Garp was not there to help. Whitebeard leapt from his ship with his Basento, and with his sheer aura, the ocean split open and the quake shattered Oro Jackson's deck. Roger braced himself, laughing, with his blade ace clashing against the quake shockwave. The collision was so strong that waves formed all over the place. Roger was surprised and told Edward he had grown stronger. While the two monsters clashed, Scopper shot forward with his twin axes, meeting Kaido in midair. Kaido used his Kanabo, and sparks flew as Haki met steel. Each strike sent shockwaves that blew small fry pirates away. While Scopper's agility kept him alive, Kaido's brute force overpowered him, cracking Scopper and sending him flying away. Big Mom hurled a bolt of thunder at the Oro Jackson, but Rayleigh stepped into the path with his blade glowing with armament and Conqueror's Haki and cut the storm in half. Shiki flooded debris into the sky, destroying Roger's ships, but Odin leapt high with Emma and Amino Habakiri and fought Shiki, cutting through all his defenses. After Whitebeard was overwhelmed by Roger, Rox joined the battle. Roger's Conqueror's Haki burst burst like a storm, meeting Rock's insane will, and the battle was so intense that their haki alone ripped open the sea. Whitebeard helped Rox defeat Roger, slamming his Basento against Roger's blade until both men were bleeding but smiling. However, Roger's crew refused to break. The fight went on for hours, and in the end, everyone was bleeding. But Rox came out on top with Whitebeard's help. Finally, Rox threw back his head and laughed, his haki exploding outwards and silencing the whole battlefield. He told Roger he did not want his head anymore, but wanted genuine help because the Marines were planning a final all-out attack with people even stronger than Garp in an organization called the World Government. Roger was stunned and told Rox that a long time ago, a strange man destroyed a ship in mere seconds by just pointing at it. Those words hit Rox like a cannon. He told Roger that no matter what happened, they must stay true and loyal to each other because now they were going to face battles they had never faced before. Roger lowered his blade as Rayleigh gave a quiet nod while Odin smirked. All the weapons clashed to the ground, and for the first time, the Roger pirates and the Rox pirates stood as one crew. The man in the shadows told someone on the phone they could finally execute their plan. The celebration did not last long, as the sky turned into the worst shade of violet, with clouds roaring and thunder everywhere. The Marine Grand Fleet arrived, led by admirals including Sengoku the Buddha in his prime, with his golden aura blazing Monkey D. Garp, the world's strongest man at that time. As Sengoku's voice roared over the seas, Rock stood tall with his conqueror's haki surging everywhere. The Marines' cannons went first, but Shiki used his float fruit to freeze the cannonballs midair and hurl them back, ripping apart hundreds of Marine ships. Sengoku leapt forward, his form exploding into a giant golden Buddha statue, and attacked Shiki's ship. Garp found his way through, destroying ship after ship, but Whitebeard came on board with his Basento that quaked the air. As both met, the ocean split apart and both men staggered back while smiling like lunatics. Kaido destroyed Vice Admiral squadrons. Big Mom hurled Zeus's thunder at the fleet. Rayleigh crossed blades with previous admirals, and Odin destroyed ship after ship. The war dragged on until exhaustion consumed everyone. Whitebeard's blood poured from dozens of wounds, and for the first time, he looked troubled. He swung his Basento for one last quake, but Garp was faster. He wrapped his fist with obsidian black armament sharpened by a lifetime of anger and killed Whitebeard by stabbing him in the chest. Even in death, Whitebeard took a dozen Marine ships with him, telling Linlin he left his legacy in her hands. On the other hand, Kaido and Shiki fought Sengoku and some admirals, but Sengoku drove both of them into wreckage. Kaido did not use his dragon form because he knew it would hurt his own allies. As Sengoku beat both killers, Roger and Odin appeared like demons. Roger's blade ace clashed with Sengoku's golden fists, with haki detonating with every single strike, while Odin carved arcs of fire with Emma, smashing through golden defenses. Together, Rox and Rayleigh performed a sneak attack from the back, charging with their blades coated in blazing Conqueror's haki and stabbing Sengoku to death. The battlefield erupted, and Garp became extremely angry. The Rox crew wanted to avenge Whitebeard's death, but suddenly, pirate and marine ships were getting destroyed for mysterious reasons. From the shadows came Imu with the Elders, and Imu destroyed Garp's very own squad, angering him greatly. Wang Ji stepped forward and boasted about killing thousands of Marines, but jumped at the ghostly figure only to be blown back 1,000 feet. Everyone was introduced to the 5 Elders. Saint Saturn's monstrous insectoid form, Topman Warcurry's massive body of muscle and haki, Nustero's cursed katana, Marcus Mars' radiating fire and venom, and Jew Peter's silent but tough presence. Garp told Imu that killing their own crewmates was not the Marines' way, and he told Rox he would fight alongside the pirates to destroy this tyrant. The clash began as Saint Saturn charged first. Big Mom countered with fire, and Rayleigh cut through with his blade. Warcurry's fists hammered Kaido into the ground, but Kaido laughed and transformed into a complete dragon for the first time in this battle. Nustero's blade met Roger's sword with Odin helping, while Mars went on a rampage, but Garp answered him with Conqueror's haki. Jew Peter's aura made everyone tremble, but Rox slammed his blade into the Elder. Big Mom and Rayleigh showed excellent synergy as she summoned a storm of thunder and fire, while Rayleigh cut through Saturn, and Linlin drove her massive blade into Saturn's chest, exploding him everywhere. Warcurry lost against Kaido, who shattered his skull by wrapping around him in dragon form. Mars clashed with Roger and Odin, and as he staggered, Garp struck him from behind with his fist, splattering the Elder's back. In an excellent display of strength, the heroes also killed Nustero, with Garp putting his haki-coated fist through the Inferno itself, punching through the Elder's chest. The toughest fight was between Jew Peter and Rox, where Rox used his Conqueror's haki to drag Jew Peter into the open and cut his head, splitting him in two. Imu suddenly absorbed the dead bodies of all the Elders and roamed the battlefield like a shadow, killing thousands of men. Rox charged with his blade coated in Conqueror's haki, but Imu blocked with a finger, and Roger followed, clashing with Imu's Void Blade. The battle went on for days, and even Imu was getting tired of fighting powerful warriors like Kaido, Rox, Roger, and the others. All the heroes performed a combined attack with Garp's Burning Fist, Roger and Odin's twin swords, and Rox gathering his last will, all striking in unison. The attack blew through the void, breaking Imu's form apart in a blinding explosion of light and shadows. The Elders were gone, the Marines were down, and for the first time, Imu was dead did too. The pirates had a long journey back, and it took years to stabilize. Garp became head of the Marines, and under his leadership, the pirates had a good connection with the Marines. Peace broke through, and the warring times were over. Subscribe and smash the like button for more One Piece videos.